Is India's COVID crisis threatening Modi's hold on power? This time last year, many thought the worst of the pandemic would be over by now. But some countries are grappling with a second wave far deadlier than their first.
Death and grief. In India, both are now on heartbreaking public display.
The World Health Organization says 3 variants of the virus are to blame for the surge of cases.
But what the official data is telling you is not matching with what we're seeing on the ground.
The country of 1.3 billion is now the global epicenter of the pandemic. India is setting record cases almost daily, and its deaths are soaring. A shortage of medical supplies, hospital beds, ventilators, and oxygen is leaving its healthcare system on the brink of collapse.
Everything needed to fight COVID is in short supply.
So scarce are supplies, people are flooding social media and phoning hospitals across New Delhi, searching for canisters.
Don't know what government is doing. People are dying on streets.
Since the pandemic began last year, India has confirmed more than 18 million cases, and deaths have crossed 200,000. Today, the country marks one COVID-19 death every 5 minutes, overwhelming morgues and makeshift mass crematoriums.
Mass cremations and burials have become the norm in a country where the bodies of coronavirus victims are piling up. Crematoriums and burial grounds are working day and night and even burning bodies in parks and car parks.
A person cannot live here in Delhi, a person cannot even die peacefully in Delhi.
A year ago, during the early stages of the pandemic, India implemented one of the strictest lockdowns to contain the virus. Cases remained relatively stable throughout most of 2020, but that victory was short-lived. And the blame is being directed at Prime Minister Modi over his handling of the pandemic. His government declared it had beaten the coronavirus in February when cases fell to under 10,000 a day. And in March, the health minister declared that India was in the end game of the pandemic. So the government lifted restrictions and allowed huge social gatherings and political rallies.
Halfway through the elections in West Bengal, only 2 things steadily rising: COVID cases and election rallies.
The image is the latest in a non-stop stream of religious events where India's monster COVID surge is being totally ignored.
And now the government is waging a social media crackdown, ordering Twitter to remove posts critical of its response, and the growing calls for Modi to resign.
Netizens are furious and are demanding for Prime Minister Narendra Modi to resign. Resign Modi is among the trending tags on Twitter.
Among those the Indian government got blocked were tweets by opposition politicians talking about Prime Minister Modi's mismanagement of the pandemic, or just highlighting the scale of the crisis and strain on the healthcare system. Even pictures posted by a photojournalist of the funeral pyres burning was blocked.
International aid is on its way to relieve India's overstretched healthcare system. From oxygen tanks to components for the vaccine, even regional rivals, China and Pakistan, are responding to the humanitarian crisis.
Hundreds of containers of oxygen have arrived from the United States. It's also sending over raw materials to help boost vaccine production.
France, Saudi Arabia, and even India's arch-rival Pakistan have also offered help.
It was only a few months ago that India was the one sending aid. It had committed to distributing millions of doses of COVID-19 vaccinations in hopes of becoming a key regional player. But has India's mishandling of the pandemic undermined those great power aspirations?